All right, guys, so today we're going to work on finding solutions and non-solutions to linear inequalities, particularly with one variable. All right, so we have several points that we want to plot. We have several inequalities that we want to plot. And when we're all done, they should look like these with a shaded region. I just want to check if my live is working. No views 4 minutes ago. All right, we're going to try this anyway. So if you're in the IM curriculum, I'm in Unit 2, lesson number 21. And if you have a workbook, you're on page 319. So it says here are 4 inequalities. Study each inequality assigned to your group and work with your group to find some coordinate pairs that represent solutions, plot both sets of points, either using 2 different colors or 2 different symbols. Plot enough points until you start to see the region that contains solutions. So let's look at the first one. We have x is greater than or equal to y. So imagine what the line x equals y looks like. If x equals y, that means we would see points such as 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, etc., etc. Now we'll just continue with that pattern. So let's go ahead and plot those points. 0, 0 in the middle. And I can see the slope here is just rise 1, run 1. So we can go forward and we can also go backward. So -1, -1, -2, -2, etc., etc. When you are graphing inequalities as well as equations, it's very important that you write the equation or inequality on the line itself. So let's go ahead and I'll put it here on the end. X is greater than or equal to y. And for inequalities, you have 2 types of lines. You're either going to have a solid line if it has the or equals to sign, or you're going to have a dashed line. So I'll show it over here. If you have greater than or less than, you want to use a dashed line. If you have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, we make it a solid line. It's always easy to remember that because just look at the symbols. They both have the lines underneath. That should tell us I need a solid line here. You can say dashed or dotted or solid. Okay, now we need to figure out where do we shade. Before we do that, because the or equals to symbol is there, we need a solid line. So we can just make a solid line going through those points. Now we want to shade. I'll use this green color. Okay, so let's pick a point, any random point, and see if it holds true for the inequality. X is greater than or equal to y. So I'm going to test any random point. I'll choose a point over in this upper left region. So -5, +6. And I'm testing it here. So is it true that -5 is greater than or equal to 6? Absolutely not. There's no way a negative number is greater than a positive number at all. So that means my shaded region is not going to be up here. So I'm going to test a point over here below the line and see if that works. So for example, I could choose the point +5, -4. Okay, so I'm going to test +5, -4, and I'm going to see if that works. So is it true that +5 is greater than or equal to -4? Yes, absolutely. That point is going to work. So one possibility is +5, -4 is in my solution set. As a matter of fact, if I choose any point below the line, the inequality will be true. So let's test another point. Let's do +6, -6. It's a +6 greater than a -6? Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and shade the entire region underneath the line. You can color it in, but most of us just like to do lines. And you're starting at the line itself, and you're going to go all the way to the bottom of the graph. So all of the points below this line will be true if we plug them into the inequality x is greater than or equal to y. I'm going to quickly jump over to the graphing calculator and show you how to solve it using that. Oh, before we do that, as a matter of fact, when we switch to the calculator, we're going to have to use the y equals button. And our inequality, the way it's written, does not have y by itself on the left-hand side. It actually has y by itself on the right-hand side. So what we're going to do is just rearrange the equation, inequality, and write it properly. So if I were to rearrange it with y on the left-hand side, I would have y is now less than or equal to x. Okay, and this is what I'm going to use when I switch over to my graphing calculator. Let's do that. Okay, my calculator isn't showing up for some reason. Let me just try to move the calculator around. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing that. Sorry about that. Give me one more second. I'm just going to share my screen, see if that works. Okay. Oh, that looks a little crazy, but hopefully that's not too much going on the screen. Okay, I'm going to try to keep the calculator right there next to me. And let's go. So we're going to turn on our calculator, and this is the button that we need, the y equals button. So our inequality is actually less than or equal to, so we want to switch this symbol over here. To do that, you're going to use the directional pad and just go until your cursor is blinking on the line. If you press enter, it changes the inequality or equation. So the symbol that we need is less than or equal to, which is going to be, that would be greater than, this would be less than. So this is the one that we need. And then we're going to go to the right side, and we just need to write the letter X, which is right here next to the green button. So X. When we press graph, we will see a picture which is exactly like what we came up with. Now, if you want to use the calculator to get the points that are on the boundary line, you just press second graph, and here you'll see all the points that we came up with when we did it just algebraically. So 0, 0, 1, 1, etc., etc. All right, let's try to do another one. Stop sharing. All right, so now I'm back. I'm going to do the next inequality. Um, let's clear the area first. Okay, this time the inequality says negative 2y is greater than or equal to negative 4. So we are going to figure out points that are on the boundary line. This time, instead of doing it manually, we're going to use our calculator. But in order to do that, we need to get y by itself on the left-hand side. So first thing we need to do is get rid of this negative 2. To do so, we divide by negative 2. And then we also divide the negative 4 by negative 2. Now this rule may be new to you. Whenever you divide or multiply an inequality by a negative number, you have to reverse the symbol. Okay, so now that I've divided by negative 2, my inequality becomes y is less than or equal to positive 2. Now we're ready to go to our calculator. Actually, if y is less than or equal to 2, because the line is or equal to, we know we need a solid line. Let's go ahead and graph the line y is equal to 2 in a solid line. Okay, so this is when y is less than or equal to 2. Where are those points going to be? Above the line or below the line? Below, right? Because we have y should be less than or equal to 2. So y can be any value below 2, means that our shaded region would happen down here. So it includes all the points that are on the line itself and all the points below. Okay, we're just going to go to our graphing calculator just to confirm and validate what we just figured out. Okay, so we're going to go back to the y equals, and we want to double check that we have the right symbol. We need y is less than or equal to 2, so we can leave it there. And then on this side, instead of x, we have 2. So we press graph, and we'll see exactly what we came up with. Let's also look at the table of values. So second graph shows you points that are in the table of values. So 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, etc. Because y is always 2 and x can change. So those are the points that are on the boundary line. All right, hopefully this was helpful to you guys. If you're in the IM curriculum, go ahead and finish up the next few examples, and feel free to post questions, comments in the chat. Thank you. Bye. We have to end.